Hey everybody, welcome to Carbon's DIY Garage. Today we are going to replace this antenna with this brand new antenna from DV8 Off-Road. And the main reason for doing that is not because of the antenna itself, but the antenna cable right here. More specifically, the cable that's actually installed in the Jeep, which is behind the glove box, is not working anymore. Nearly 30 years old, and sometimes you get a good signal, sometimes you don't. If you wiggle a cable around, the signal will get better. Sometimes if you hold it just right, you'll keep a good signal, but by and large, it's just not doing its job anymore. It's probably broken in there somewhere. But we're gonna go ahead and replace the cable. And to do that requires pulling it all out through a hole here in the body and replacing the whole segment here, the base of the antenna, and then that cable as well. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. Let's get to work. So the first thing you need to do is get the glove box out, and I'm gonna assume you know how to do that. Just fold it down and pull it out. There's usually a strap over here holding it in place as well. Comes out really easily, and almost 30-year-old Jeep, it basically falls out all the time. Then you need to find the antenna cable, and it's pretty easy. It's got this foam insulation on it. Usually it's probably slid down a bit, but it should be right here underneath the fuse box. So that's the antenna cable. So the antenna cable actually splits in half. There's the actual antenna cable and then an extension that plugs into your radio, and they can pull apart the side here closest to the antenna itself. You can twist that and pull it out. It's a little bit tight, but it comes apart like that. Now you have the two pieces. The DV8 Off-Road kit actually comes with this extension as well. So if we're doing this and I don't know exactly where the source of the problem is, go ahead and replace that too. So you can just follow it blindly with your hand up to the back of the radio and pull it out of the back of the radio, and it comes out looking just like that. And it'll be pretty easy to find the right hole to stick this into when you put the new one in, because it's the only hole that's large enough to fit this type of connection. The first step in removing the antenna is to get the actual antenna itself off of the base, and since mine doesn't have any flats, it's really just finger tight, and I can just unscrew it. It's going to vary depending on your particular antenna. If it's still the stock antenna, you probably need a 10 millimeter open-ended wrench to get it off, but it just unthreads just like that. The next step is to gently pry the cover here off of the base, and there's a gasket up against the Jeep, so get your screwdriver between the plastic cover here and that gasket and just pull it away. This base is obviously pretty corroded here on the end, and these screws, a couple of them are rusted, but they're coming out pretty easily. It's just 3 Phillips head screws that you need to pull out. To show you on the new one, this is the base of the antenna. There is a rubber grommet here, maybe a foot in, that is actually pressed into the body. So when you pull the antenna base out, the line will become taut, and then this grommet will still be engaged, and so you just need to tug on that to get the cabling to come out. So to show you that, just pull this out, tip it up to get that 90-degree bend out, and pull the cabling till it's tight, and now it's tight. So I'm just gonna give it more of a pull, and there is that grommet, and you can see the cable starting to come out. Now it might become tight again, and that's because of that other hole that that grommet plugged into. There's some foam padding on that antenna cable inside in the glove box, and it's going to be trying to pull through that smaller little hole. So let me show that to you. So here's a good view looking through the body and the other side, and you can see that's that foam on the antenna cable that's getting jammed up there on that smaller hole on the other side. So you can sometimes probably wiggle it through, but I wouldn't spend too much time on it. You can just go on the inside, and we're not going to keep this cable, so we can just pull that foam off and throw it away, and then this will pull right out. So again, here's the end of that cable. You can see the foam is all wadded up at the end, so you can just pull it over top of the connector and just pull it off or rip it off. It doesn't matter because we're just throwing it all away. Once you have the old one out, the new one, you just need to put it back into the hole. So then you just push it in, and you can get it started through that hole, but then you need to really come and work it on both sides. It's a little bit of hand contortion to get your hand up at the inside where it goes through, but just reach up there and gently work it through, and it'll come through with this foam padding on there, no problem. So once that foam comes through, then you can stick your finger in up against that grommet on the outside and pull on the cable on the inside, and just pull that grommet through, and it'll pop right in place. and you can feel around with your finger, and you can feel if it's fully seated. You want to make sure it's fully seated because that's your way of keeping water and stuff from getting inside the Jeep. And then it's just a matter of pushing the rest of the cable back inside the body and getting that bend in, just like that. And now there's a key up here at the top that aligns with the keyway on the side of the body, and you've got 3 screws that came with the antenna base, and so you can screw that right in. But before I actually do that, I'm gonna go and clean up on the body here to make sure it's got a nice clean surface that this gasket then will compress up against. All right, once it's all cleaned off, it's just screwing these 3 screws in. I would do it evenly so you get it nice and even and get good compression on this gasket. And then I also just push in on it and tighten the screws till they're good and snug. You don't want to strip the threads on the inside on the body, but you do want to get a good tight fit. And that is it. That is installed. Now we got to go back inside and make the connections. All right, here is the new cable. Here's the extension that came with it. Simple matter of plugging these 2 things together till they're tight, just like that. And then you'll go reach up into the back of the radio, just like you took the other one out, and you plug this into the back of the radio. Once that's done, you are done on the inside. You can just tuck this out of the way and go put your glove box in. And that's all. And I've got some extra cables that are in there too. I'll put that away. But that's all you got to do in there. In the back outside, you just take your antenna base cover, snap that in place, good, and press, and then just screw in your antenna. I'm going to go ahead and use the one that came from DV8 instead of putting that stubby back on, but you can do whatever you want. It's the same universal thread, the same threads that were on the original antenna base, so you could easily go put whatever antenna you want on here. The only thing left to do now is see if it actually works. Well, folks, you're gonna have to take my word for it that the radio sounds great now. The reception problems are all fixed with replacing that antenna. I'd let you listen to it, but I'd probably get a copyright strike, so sorry about that. I'm gonna leave a link in the video description for this antenna setup. It was about 50 bucks, so it's really worthwhile in investment if you wanna resolve any staticky issues, reception issues. Hopefully this video has been helpful to you, makes it a little bit easier for you to do it yourself. If you like the video, a thumbs up would be great. Comments or questions, of course. Links in the video description. And most importantly, if you subscribe to the channel, hit that notify. It really helps support the channel. I really do appreciate it. And if you're looking to go the extra mile and support financially, Super Thanks is an option, and also buy me a coffee. There's a link in the video description. Thanks again. I appreciate you watching this far. Until the next project video, which is going to be right around the corner, you guys take care. Have a good one.